Hey there, folks. I just got a little fishing video I want to share with you guys real quick. Seems like everywhere I've been going lately, fishing with this jig, and people keep asking me, man, where do you get that? And I tell them I make them, and they always want to know how. And been getting a lot of people asking me on Facebook and stuff to do a tutorial, and I'm going to do that for you tonight. And it's just a standard round ball jig. I think this one's a 1/4 ounce. I'll do a 3/8 ounce for you real quick. And we'll start off with a Weedguard. I have a bunch of these that I've pre-made. This is just standard leader wire. I think it's like comes in a spool or a little bundle like this. It's a 44-pound test, 0.014 diameter, number 5 chrome nickel alloy, single strand, steel wire leader material. So there you go. And you cut it into, a length that's roughly about half that, and you fold it in half. I could do this for you if you really want, but I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. You fold it in half and then use your pliers to just bend a little, not straight 90 degrees. You've all seen a wired weed guard. So, and then the next step is put it on your hook here, and this is going to vary depending on the size hook you're using. And I made the mistake of doing this when I first started. I just did this and then put my bend there like that, and let's see, get this to focus right. So you want to kind of impart the natural bend that you're going to want when it's finished, and then you just mark it with a Sharpie. And I do so many of these. I have a ruler that's pre-marked with spots for each size hook that I'm going to be using, and then you just use some flat pliers like this, and it helps to get the kind that are flat on the inside, don't have the grip ridges. Just go like that, and we're going to go the same direction as the bend in the front. Just bend it forward just like that. It doesn't have to be perfect, because this is just for tying purposes. So that's what the finished thing looks like, and then we're going to get our hook threaded up. For you real quick. Don't have to put a ton out. I like to use a pretty heavy gauge thread. This is 280 UTC ultra thread. Good stuff, nice and strong. I'll go as low as 210 for this, but I really wouldn't go any lower than that. Sometimes we'll exert some pretty strong pulls on this stuff. All right, so I'll start it off. Sorry, I'm still kind of new to making videos here. I'll start it off just like this. Try to get that wire lined up to that bend in the shank. and with each side of the wire on each side of the shank, and just kind of start wrapping it from the eye going up. These are loose wraps at first, because you'll see why in a second. Just kind of getting it loose right around there, and then once you get up top around the bend, I'm going to kind of wiggle this into place, because I want it to be along the back, the inside of the bend. You don't want the wire sitting on the outside of this. You want it to be inside the hook bend, because you're going to be bending this back that way. You want it to be putting the force directly on the wrappings, not sliding back and forth around that shank as you bend this wire. So actually, I'm going to go ahead and wrap the back of this up real tight. Okay, untwist my line here. Good. That's just me. I'm a little particular about my wrappings, especially when it comes to this part. And like I said, I like to use a fair amount of force when I'm putting these wraps on. When I first started doing this, I did have a couple of these pop the threads out after a couple uses. Alright, and you don't have to bundle it up. Actually, you don't want to bundle it up a bunch, because that'll make it harder to get your lead on. And I'm gonna go ahead and just do a couple whip finish wraps there. Alright, that's pretty much it for the Weedguard, and I'll go ahead and share with you the little homemade jig that I make here. Let me just find my super glue. Put that. You know what? It's okay. Don't know where my super glue went off to, but just use some Sally Hansen here. Just put a little bit of that on there. Sally Hansen's probably better than super glue anyway. It'll stand up to the forces a little better. UV resin's also a good choice. So here's what I use. It's a standard round ball split shot. Open it up. Sometimes you gotta pry them open. A good pair of wire cutters, or side cutters, I guess is what these are technically called. If you get them out of the package and they're closed up, you know, all clamshelled up like that, and you can't get them open, you just take your side cutters and like that, and open up Pac-Man's mouth there. And put it on your pliers like that, and we're just gonna put that right on the corner there, clamp it down real good and tight. Now I understand that is not ideal, especially if you're going to be doing any powder painting, but lead is pretty malleable, so you got some leeway here. So you can see I'm kind of grabbing it up here towards the tip here on the inside, just pressing that together real tight. And I understand it's going to booger up your lead finish a bit, but if any of you have ever done any powder painting on standard lead jig heads, come in packages. Most of them don't come too pretty. You gotta do a little cleaning up on some of them, cleaning burrs off and stuff. So it's nothing new, and that's good enough, you know. Sometimes I'll just take my pliers and kind of clean up the, like those burrs around the outside. And those little dimples there that I created with my pliers, if you want to be real picky about it, you know, you can kind of clean those up. It's not a big deal. That will powder paint. You might get a little bit of a dimple in there, but honestly, sometimes I prefer to just sand a little flat spot there anyway, because I like to use stick-on eyes on a lot of my jig heads. But there you go. That's a weedless jig there for you. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Got some more tutorials coming up soon. I'm gonna do a craft fur one pretty soon, and then I've been having a lot of demand, people wanting to know how I make these. Ooh. Top knot coming at you. Peace.